Welcome to the 2013 MAAC Men's Basketball Championship presented by Pepsi Max. In our second men's semifinal, it's the Fairfield Stags against the Manhattan Jaspers. And the winner of this ball game advances on to tomorrow night's 9 o'clock championship game against Iona. The fourth-seeded Gales have advanced, having just knocked off the regular season champs from Niagara. And welcome everybody to Springfield, Massachusetts. Doug Sherman along with former Division I assistant coach Rob Kennedy. And in our second semifinal, we have two teams very evenly matched. They tied for sixth place during the regular season, but Rob, perhaps the biggest difference is that Fairfield is now having to play its third game in the last 72 hours.
And they had to play that extra game because they lost both regular season matchups to Manhattan. That's why the Jaspers got the bye. We'll see if that comes into play. This is going to be a tough physical defensive game. Maybe that extra day off could be a benefit to the Jaspers.
Okay, let's take a look at our one-on-one brought to you by Holiday Inn, starting with senior guard Derek Needham of Fairfield.
Oh, he's been the face of this program since the day he walked onto campus, having a terrific tournament. You see his tournament numbers, 21.5, nearly 7 better than what he did in the regular season, trying to finish up his senior season on a high note. On the other side, it's all about the defense from Ramel Brown, but he's a much improved offensive player. His offense was a spark. You see, last game, a double dozen, 12 points, 12 rebounds, but it's those 3 blocks and his ability to anchor the back of their defense that really makes Ramel Brown one of the best post players in this league.
I like that, a double dozen.
There you go.
Let's take a look at our starting lineups. As you see here, brought to you by Kronz, and there is the senior trio in the backcourt for Fairfield of Needham, Colin Nickerson, and Desmond Wade. And on the flip side for Manhattan, coming in with an overall record of only 13-17, but playing well down the stretch. Alvarado, Cates, Coita back from suspension, Collinette and Brown, as we are getting set for action in game number 2 here at the Mass Mutual Center on semifinal Sunday. The head coach for the Fairfield Stags, Sidney Johnson. Our coaching matchup brought to you by Anaconda Sports, home of the Rock. This is year 2 as head coach for the Stags. A year ago, Fairfield won 22 games. They're at 19 right now. There's Steve Masiello. His overall record of 34-30, down a bit this year, but they have had to adjust on the fly without last year's scoring champion George Beeman, who went down 4 games into the year with an ankle injury. Our keys to the game brought to you by Geico.
Well, they need Derek Needham, no question about that. He was 3-19 in the 2 losses to Manhattan in the regular season, but playing well in this tournament. They need another big game for him to march on. And then they've got to find some gimmies, some easy shots in transition. Sidney Johnson wants to get out and run, knowing that it's going to be hard to score against Manhattan's half-court offense. On the other side, Manhattan, they know the same thing. Points are going to be hard to come by, so you've got to execute on the offensive end. And then what can Ramel Brown do? Well, he can guard the rim as well as any player in this league. It's near impossible to score at the rim, so you're going to have to be able to make some outside shots.
A terrific officiating crew for our second semifinal. Ed Corbett, Jim Haney, Earl Walton. Fairfield as the number 7 seed, having lost the tiebreaker. The Stags wearing their road red. Manhattan, by virtue of winning that tiebreaker, serves as the home team here in the home whites. And Manhattan has the basketball first. Michael Alvarado feeds to Brown, to the cutting Collinette, who spins but missed the shot.
You see the immediate double team. First time Brown touches the ball, he's going to see that all game long.
Pass to the corner, Needham. Back to Nickerson. 15 to shoot. Coit is all over Nickerson.
Got in, getting to gaps against his zone defense.
Amadou Sidibe, the co-rookie of the year, misses his first shot. Had a quiet quarterfinal yesterday. They need more out of him here today.
Yeah, 0 points in just 12 minutes, was hampered by foul trouble early in that ball game.
They're going to need him on that low post matchup with Ramel Brown.
Now they're going to need all their bigs. You know, one of the things about Ramel Brown, he got a bunch of dunks yesterday against Loyola. Fairfield's not going to allow that. They're going to make him have to earn those at the foul line.
Nickerson goes by Koida to Sidibe, who didn't even look at the rim.
Now you got to be aggressive. Again, you got to get into gaps against the zone.
Airball Des Wade.
And their two matchups against the Jaspers. Fairfield has struggled mightily, scoring a total of just 71 points in their two ball games.
Brown surrounded by two defenders, so Collinet is open. Sidibe corrals the rebound. Nickerson inside. Barrow goes to the reverse, and he was fouled.
And unlike Sidibe, who was tentative once they threw the ball inside, you're not going to get that from Maurice Barrow.
First foul on Ramel Brown, and so the 2013 MAAC sixth man of the year in a starting role again here tonight, Maurice Barrow, at the free throw line shooting two. And he started yesterday against Ryder in that win, 43-42. He started against St. Peter's in the first round game, so he has made 12 starts this year, but still the sixth man of the year.
And that was a new role for him. He had started 71 consecutive games when Sidney Johnson made the switch to bring him off the bench. He accepted that role with no problems, and you can see whether he's off the bench or in the starting lineup, he can be a good contributor for him. One of their best post scorers.
Manhattan keeps possession. And it depends on the player, I would imagine, right, Rob? Some guys are okay coming off the bench as long as they're getting their minutes and as long as they're apt to be on the floor in key situations. What difference does it make?
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. The key is who's going to finish the game, and a lot of times it was Maurice Barrow on the floor finishing games, no matter whether he started or came off the bench.
Emi Andujar's come into the game, and he certainly is somebody who plays starter minutes for the Jaspers, but he misses his first shot, and here comes Nickerson. Alvarado cut him off, and now the ball comes back out to Barrow.
And that's what Sidney Johnson was talking about. He wants to see if they can get out in transition, use the speed of their guards to find some easy shots. Because once they have to settle in, whether it's the man-to-man or the zone defense, it's hard to score in the half court against the Jaspers.
Whoa. Perhaps he thought Desmond Wade was 6'8". Not even close. Barrow passed it out of bounds.
Might have needed to be 7'8" to go get that one. Dengai may have been able to go get that. I'm not sure there are any other Stags that would have been able to corral that one.
Still looking for our first made basket of the ball game. 2-0 Fairfield on a couple of free throws from Barrow. Andujar keeps from the foul line. Again, the Stags with a leak out, and this time they convert. Barrow with the layup.
And that's why it's so important. Any of those easy baskets that you can get are huge. Whoever gets the most easy baskets is going to win this ball game. What the crazy thing is, Doug, in both of their games, Fairfield got off to a good start. First game where they lost by 20, they were up 7-2. In the second game, when they only scored 31 points in that ball game, they were up 12-2. Go figure.
Yeah, and you talk about whoever gets the most easy baskets might win this game. Chances are we'll be able to count the total number of easy baskets on one hand. Corner three and a quick start for the Stags. It's all Maurice Barrow.
Look at Sidney Johnson. He is all fired up. Getting his guys fired up. Today in film session, they said the plays that he continued to roll back were all the hustle plays. And getting out in transition is a hustle play. Outrunning your guys up the floor, able to score one in transition, and then good ball movement. The extra pass against the zone gets you a decent open look against three. And again, there are not many open looks. Maurice Barrow, who had struggled all season long from beyond the three, was able to step up in their last regular season game, knock down a couple of threes against Marist, and hits one right there.
And he's now 4 for 19 on the year from beyond the arc, but the junior out of Christ the King High School in Queens, New York, has all 7 points in our ball game so far here today.
Yeah, had just 1 3 in their first 29 ball games. Now all of a sudden, I guess you'd say he's on fire from beyond the three-point line.
Apparently they have changed the Barrow 3 to a 2, so it is 6-0. He's got all 6 points so far.
Well, they couldn't believe he was making threes either, so they made it a 2.
Coita's defender Needham fell. Brown triple team. Actually, the triple team and all 3 defenders gave him some space, but he wound up passing away anyhow. Andujar seems very proactive, wanting to get up shots, but he's still over.
Well, especially if they're going to double in on the big guy in the post, Ramel Brown, every possession. Somebody else going to have to step up and score for Manhattan.
Just over 5 minutes in, all Fairfield so far. Sidibe thought about it too much, and in the process, shuffled his feet. Timeout with Fairfield on top, 6-0.
What these young bloods have to understand, that this game has always been, and will always be, about buckets.
Drew? Is that you?
I got you, Wes. Just like old times. Oh, get over. That's a pocket pass. That's a pocket pass.
Gotta get out there.
Screen.
Put your team back together again.
Get that out of here.
Go find them. This is just the beginning.
The ones who inspire us. The ones who make us laugh. The ones with the strong shoulder to lean on. The ones we're named after. And the ones named after us. It takes all kinds of good to make a family. At New York Life, everything we do is to help you keep good going.
For over 75 years, people have saved money with Geico. Sorry.
Here we go from the top. And action.
For over 75 years, people have saved money with Gecko.
Cut it.
What did I say? Gecko. I said Gecko. Oh. For over 75 years...
Keep it together.
I'm good. For over 70... What are you doing there? Stop making me laugh.
Geico, saving people money for over 75 years.
Don't look at me.
The 2013 MAAC basketball tournament is brought to you by Pepsi Max. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Anaconda Sports, home of the Rock, is proud to sponsor the MAAC. The Jimmy Fund. Text Jimmy to 22122 to contribute $5 to the Jimmy Fund today. Geico. See how Geico can save you 15% or more on your car insurance by visiting geico.com today. And by the 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts. Visit Massachusetts.com for more information. Let's go. With a spot in tomorrow's championship game on the line, Sidney Johnson, Fairfield Stags pitching a shutout so far of the Manhattan Jaspers, who have the ball. Manhattan 0 for 8 from the floor so far, and one of the best numbers you could see if you're Fairfield is off of those 8 misses. Fairfield's got 8 defensive rebounds. No chance to follow up.
And one of the big reasons Sidibe continues to be one of the better rebounders in the league.
Roberto Collinet breaks the seal for the Jaspers.
He had a good game last night against Ryder. A couple of big buckets coming down the stretch of that ball game.
First foul on Sidibe. And the first against Fairfield here in the early going is Steve Masiello. Chats with C.J. Jones, freshman guard from Chicago.
One thing about Sidibe, he goes after every rebound. Defensive end, offensive end, doesn't matter. He had 22 rebounds in the 2 games against Manhattan. Only scored 6 points, but it's his rebounding and defense. Reason why he was one of the Rookies of the Year in this league.
And the man he shared that award with has come into the ball game now for Manhattan, Shane Richards. He was a good offensive option in the win yesterday in the quarterfinals, Richards was. Wade turns it over. Rashawn Stores has the basketball.
And a bad decision by a guy that usually doesn't make bad decisions.
There's a good decision. Off the spin move after missing his first 4 shots from the floor. Andujar gets himself an easy layup.
But as you said earlier, Doug, he's being aggressive. He's finding some shots.
Coleman Johnson.
And he's been getting meaningful minutes in both their first 2 games here in the MAAC tournament. Coming down the stretch, his minutes would come and go. He didn't play in the second matchup against Manhattan.
Donovan Cates, no. Coleman Johnson, nice job to seal off his defender and get that rebound. Blocking foul. And so Desmond Wade, the former Houston Cougar, will head to the free throw line.
Well, Emi Andujar, an all-rookie selection last year, has had a difficult sophomore season at times, but playing well coming down the stretch. Nice spin and finish at the rim.
Well, at 6'6", 205, he's got perimeter skills, and he picked Manhattan over programs like Iona and also Creighton. The Blue Jays were heavily after him and offered him a scholarship, but Emi said he was much more interested to stay close to home. He's from the Bronx, came out of the terrific high school program at Rice, and so he decided to play at Manhattan College, which is located in the Bronx.
And he's got a good body, good size at 6'5", can handle the basketball, and a terrific passer. For the second straight seasons, he's led the Jaspers in assists.
Here is Andujar with the basketball, and we've got a whistle and a foul off the ball. Derek Needham called for the foul, and he's the one still down on the floor after picking up his first. But it looked like Richards, perhaps.
The officials should take a look at that one.
Got him with an elbow.
Sidney Johnson was asking. They didn't go to the monitor. They should have taken a look at that one. That may have been a flagrant.
Needham stays in the ball game and stays with that matchup, trying to stay with Richards. Jones misses the shot. Needham able to save the basketball and save the possession. Derek still struggling a little bit with that left eye, it appears, but no worse for the wear. Marcus Gilbert, a freshman from Smyrna, Delaware, has come in, and Needham will get a rest.
Shake the cobwebs out of his head after what looked like taking a shot, an elbow to the head.
Certainly looked like it on the replay that we saw. Terrific help defense by Manhattan. You beat your first man, there's at least one more guy running at you. Johnson tips the ball back towards the backcourt. It's the Jaspers who come up with it. Brown to Collinette. And he will shoot 2 after being fouled by Gilbert. Fairfield has the early advantage with a spot in the MAAC championship game to the victor.
Canisius College is committed to academic and athletic excellence. The Jesuit tradition prepares students for a lifetime of service. From the classroom to hands-on experience, Canisius students are ready to succeed. Canisius College, where leaders are made.
It's knowing that you will always compete against the best while making you become the best that you can be. It's about joining a family with a storied history where athletics and academics are held to the highest of standards. It's about creating the future leaders of tomorrow all with a focus on one goal: graduation. It's the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
What these young bloods have to understand, that this game has always been and will always be about buckets.
Drew, is that you? I got you, Wes. Just like old times. Oh, get over. That's a pocket pass. That's a pocket pass.
Gotta get out there.
Screen.
Put your team back together again.
Get out of here.
Go find them. This is just the beginning.
Fairfield 10, Manhattan 4, 11:34 remaining in the first half. Ed Cohen a moment ago with a chance to talk with Steve Masiello, the head coach of the Jaspers.
Steve, a lot of early attention on Ramel Brown. What does he have to do going forward against this pressure?
I think they're giving him good double-down looks. He's just got to keep being unselfish, passing the ball, and he's got to establish himself early in the paint and try to get some easy touches.
Still early? What's going to be your message to your team going into this timeout?
Just keep playing. I mean, we're doing some good things. We've got to get back in transition. We got hurt twice. We got to finish at the rim, not look for contact, and just finish the play.
Thanks so much.
That's Steve Masiello back in his huddle. Did a terrific job helping turn this program around as a rookie head coach. Took them from 6 wins to 21 wins last year. And again, they have regressed in terms of the win-loss record this year. But considering the extenuating circumstance of having lost last year's scoring champion in George Beeman 4 games into the year, I think Manhattan has done a terrific job led by Coach Masiello.
Especially coming down the stretch, he was forced to adjust. His first year, he was able to come in, put a completely new style of play, and was able to just kind of go straight ahead with what he wanted to do. This year, he's had to zig and zag, and he's done a good job with that. They've been playing very well coming down the stretch, having won 7 of their last 9 ball games. They've completely changed their offense, refocused in on their defense, and certainly 10 out of the last 12 MAAC opponents know that, as the Jaspers have held them under 40% shooting.
Coach Masiello has 3 times previously cut down the nets on a Monday at the MAAC Championship, then as an assistant under Bobby Gonzalez here at Manhattan. And then from that point, Coach Masiello went back and worked for his mentor at Louisville and Rick Pitino before getting his opportunity to come back to Riverdale, New York, and be the head coach at Manhattan College. Needham and Nickerson in the backcourt with Gilbert, Barrow, and Johnson. Richards, Jones, Storrs, Collinette, and Brown, the 5 on the floor in white for Manhattan.
And the Jaspers disrupt all your offensive sets, so you just got to go make a play.
And that's what Nickerson's going to have to do with the shot clock hitting 0.
And that's one of the problems for this Fairfield team. They don't have a whole lot of guys that can break you down and find shots, with the exception of Needham.
They say Manhattan will keep it. Needham did a nice job to deflect the ball away from Jones. Alvarado will replace Jones. Alvarado lost it out of bounds. Fans use the hashtag MAACHoops when tweeting about your MAAC basketball team. Hashtag MAACHoops is the best way to get all the information on basketball happenings around the league. With Rob Kennedy, I'm Doug Sherman at the MAAC tournament here in Springfield, Massachusetts. Ramel Brown picks up the blocked shot as he denied Needham on the drive.
Now just defends the rim. Nearly impossible to score at the rim over Brown.
And Brown picks up his 2nd personal foul in unique fashion.
And look at Sidney Johnson. Talk about in their film sessions, he played a couple of plays with guys diving to the basketball. That's become their character. I mean, that's what you define Fairfield basketball as right now. I mean, they're not a team that's going to outscore you, but they're not worried about it. And they don't worry about whether or not it's pretty. All they're worried about is coming up with the win.
with that second foul on Brown, the third team foul on Manhattan. And so Brown takes a seat. Andujar has come back in. And so a relatively small lineup for the Jaspers. Andujar playing inside with Collinette playing the 5.
Talk about the identity of this team now being all about their defense. I thought Colin Nickerson last night in his interview at the halftime with Ed Cohen put it great. He said, I don't care that it's low scoring. I just care that we score more points than they do when it's all over. So his team has bought in to that new identity.
Johnson with 4 points now. Over the back, Maurice Barrow.
Now Collinette able to fight his way for inside position for what would have been the first offensive rebound for either team in this ball game. That's not a smart play. You can let the ball go into the backcourt. Alvarado tried to catch it and may have had his toe on the line. Going to let that go in the backcourt. It's not a backcourt violation.
And then Richards right there has to be careful. He's being guarded closely when he had the ball by Gilbert and was clearing space with his elbows. And we saw just a few minutes ago what looked like an elbow from Richards catch Needham up in the face.
Oh, he's such a good shooter. You're going to have to get used to that. Guys are going to be hugging you all the time out at the three-point line.
And again, Rob, explain the latest rules in college basketball in terms of contacting above the shoulders with an elbow.
Yeah, if you get contact above the shoulders, it's a flagrant 1 foul, period. I mean, even if it's not with intent. If it's with intent, it's a flagrant 2. So you got to be careful with that.
Amadou Sidibe with his first point of the day. 14-5, prompting Manhattan to call timeout.
Now, Derek Needham doesn't just have to score the basketball to help his team. Top 3 in assists all time at Fairfield with over 500 assists, 100 or more in each of his 4 seasons. This time we saw Sidibe a couple of times catch the ball in the paint and not be aggressive. This time he just caught and put it up. When you think too much, you saw him travel one time, you saw him be tentative. You can't do that. You got to just play. Kind of like a golf swing. You start overthinking it, it's going all over the place.
There's some of the numbers for Derek Needham behind John Ryan and Joe DeSantis on the all-time school list for career assists. A.J. Winder went on to play in the NBA with the Boston Celtics.
Yep, 3rd all-time in both assists and points. He has had a spectacular career. The only thing he hasn't been able to do is play in the NCAA tournament. Trying to see if he can keep that dream alive here in his senior season.
8.5 minutes remaining, first half of semifinal number 2. Iona won the first semi by eliminating Niagara. Needham slips the defender and lays it in.
Now turning defense into offense at the other end.
Alvarado does the same with a quick answer.
Well, we said finding those gimmies, finding those easy shots going to be hard. Each team able to get a score out in transition in these last 2 possessions. Nice crossover by Alvarado, but a better defensive play to come up with the block by Johnson. And then they're off to the races as Derek Needham. He's quick. He's got that upper body strength. He can go finish at the rim. Puts it down, lets a defender go by him. The Stags slow in transition defense, and Alvarado made him pay with the 3-point play.
And Rob, in less than 5 seconds, both point guards in the game got their first baskets. Needham at one end, Alvarado at the other, who then completes the 3-point play to cut the lead back to 8.
That is maybe the quickest flurry of offense we're going to see in this ball game. Sidibe really posting up strong inside, just unable to make the catch. Did all the hard work, but you got to come up with the basketball.
The Stags by 8 over the Jaspers. Back to Springfield in a moment.
I'm excited for college, but financially, it's going to be a little hard. I have to apply for scholarships, definitely. Money's kind of a big topic for us for college.
Job placement is really important, you know, especially in like today's economy, because I want to like work as soon as I can to work off the debt and do, you know, what I want to start doing for a living. I want to have the nice progression from, you know, school to college to...
Welcome back to Springfield, Massachusetts, in the midst of a little bit of a Harlem shuffle by the Fairfield cheerleaders. Hey, Manhattan's doing it as well. Look at that.
And their band, a couple irreverent bands here today.
Well, Fairfield doesn't get a lot of opportunities in transition, but they've got to capitalize, Ron.
And that was one of the keys coming in, to be able to find some of those gimmies out in transition. And when they've done that, by turning some offense from their defense, they've been able to score the basketball. As we said, every one of these gimmies is going to be so important. You find a couple easy baskets, you're going to find them in transition or offensive rebounds, because they're hard to find against both these half-court defenses.
Well, these two teams very evenly matched. They both went 9-9 during the regular year in MAAC play. They tied for 6th place by virtue of the tiebreaker. Manhattan is the 6th seed. Fairfield is the 7th seed. And so we are assured for the first time since 2002 of not having either a number 1 or a number 2 seed in the championship game tomorrow night, because Iona, the 4 seed, is already there.
Well, when we previewed this in our last regular season game, you and I both said there's as many as 7 teams that could win the MAAC championship, and lo and behold, we've got the 6th and 7th seed matching up here in this semifinal.
And in the history of the MAAC tournament, dating back to 1982, this Fairfield program has a tremendous history in having low-seeded teams go on to win the championship. The only 8th seed to win was in 1997 when Paul Cormier's Stags, led by Shannon Bowman, led by Greg Francis, won that title on Buffalo. And one of only 2 times a 7th seed has won the championship. It was when Mitch Bonaguro was the head coach of Fairfield in 1987.
Look how hard it is to score at the rim. That's great defense. You see nobody slap down to come up with the foul. You just body up, hold your ground. That is terrific defense.
Mohamed Koita back into the game for Manhattan.
Manhattan now 3 of 18 from the floor.
Andujar spins into a double team. Collinette loses the handle, gets it back, and then puts up a brick, and Coleman Johnson rips the rebound down.
And the Stags are just absolutely dominating the backboard.
Well, Manhattan's next offensive rebound will be its first offensive rebound. No second chance opportunities at all for the Jaspers. Nickerson misses the rim altogether. 6:23 left in the first half. Andujar up and over Johnson, and he gets the roll.
Andujar seems to be their only offense here in the early going. He's got 2 of their 4 field goals.
He has 4. Collinette and Alvarado both have 3. Desmond Wade, a rare open look, and he can't convert.
And you got to make those open looks, because as you said, they are rare.
Strong baseline move that doesn't come up with a bucket. Donovan Cates, and out of bounds. Back to Fairfield.
It's amazing. Derek Needham ball fakes well beyond the NBA three-point line, and the defense is going to come on out because he's got that type of range. Doesn't force it, makes the extra pass for Des Wade. Des Wade has really struggled since he's come back from that knee injury. As far as scoring the basketball, he's still such an important part for this team, but he just has not been able to find the mark offensively.
He's yet to get a field goal in the tournament. Yeah. 3 games in, he has not made a basket.
And including the 2 regular season games when he finally got himself back in, he's just a combined 3 for 22 coming into tonight.
Maurice Barrow picks up his second personal. And so Sidibe comes back in from Fairfield's bench. And Barrow goes out. We're also getting our first look at Ryan McCoy, a 6'9" sophomore from Skillman, New Jersey. Ramel Brown remains sidelined with his 2 personal fouls. Steve Masiello looking to protect him. Koida off the terrific back cut. And the feed from Rashawn Stores.
A little Princeton offense there, huh? The backdoor cut. But even when you think you're going to have a layup on the backdoor cut, everybody's coming to challenge it at the rim. Here's this nice play, set play, right off the dribble. That's the key, to be able to make that bounce pass right off the dribble. Terrific feed by Stores.
And now the sophomore from All Hallows High School in New York City heads out. And we've got a timeout called with 5:01 on the clock. Now, Steve Masiello is a coach who is all about challenging his players, and it's a style that he picked up from his mentor, Rick Pitino, and he does not hesitate to tell his players, you're not good enough to play here. To use that as motivation, it's something he heard many times as an assistant at Louisville. Guys like Russ Smith, guys like Peyton Siva heard it from Pitino, and it motivated them to be better.
Yeah, great line when I was talking to him earlier today. I said, this is going to be a physical game, tough one, back-to-back, quick turnaround. He said, you know what? Compared to practice, this will be a walk in the park for these guys.
Which is true. That is absolutely true. And he is hardest on his point guards. And so the young point guards that he has had play for him this year have really taken some of that heat, but it's all with the idea that they will improve.
And one of the things, again, if you practice harder, then when you get in a game, it is a little bit easier for you. And as well, when you're under pressure all the time as a point guard in practice, then when you're under pressure in games, it's easier to make good decisions.
Now, he has a habit of blaming every mistake on the floor on his point guard. You should be better to make your teammates better. Under 5 minutes remaining in the half. Wade, Johnson, Needham, Sidibe, and Gilbert. Alvarado takes it away from Wade, who then commits the foul. First foul on Des Wade. And the 7th team foul against the Stags. And so we've got a 1-and-1 coming up for Alvarado.
So despite the fact that they've shot less than 23%, they've got an opportunity to cut it to a 2-point lead here from the line.
Alvarado, one of the better foul shooters in the league at 81%, makes the first. Nickerson replaces Wade. Collinet takes the spot of McCoy.
And remember, Manhattan's been playing really about the last 8-9 minutes without Ramel Brown. He's been on the bench with his 2 fouls. Since then, Manhattan's got things going a little bit offensively. You see Fairfield not able to get themselves even started into the offense.
5 to shoot. Gilbert puts an air ball up. Coleman Johnson with the easy 2.
So his freshman teammate says, you know what? Instead of an air ball, let's call it an assist. Good energy from Coleman Johnson. One of those talented freshmen.
And so that snaps the 9-0 Jaspers run over the last 4 minutes.
Nope, we got a clock issue again. Shot clock was down to 14 seconds, so we'll fix that as we step aside for another media timeout.
18-14, Fairfield with a 4-point advantage with 3:44 left in the half. Back on semifinal Sunday here in Springfield, David Lowry and the Iona Gales won the opening game over the Niagara Purple Eagles, taking down the #1 seed. Lowry was brilliant from the start, 20 points, 17 rebounds. He had a double-double by halftime, Rob.
And it was their interior guys, he and Taj Ridley, who really stepped up. They didn't have the prolific scoring that they regularly get from their backcourt, but it didn't matter, and that's what you got to get if you're going to continue to advance. It can't just be one or two guys. You've got to get an overall team effort, and the Gales got it in the quarterfinals, and they got it again in the semifinals.
Would you make Iona the favorite tomorrow night against either one of these teams?
Well, they probably will end up being the favorite. You look at the paper, but here's the one thing. Tomorrow's going to be about style of play. They always say, style makes the prize fight. Which team, whether it's Iona, who's going to try to push the pace, or whether it's not either one of these teams, doesn't matter whether it's Manhattan or Fairfield, are they going to be able to impose their will and get the game into a grind? And so it'll all be about style and tempo tomorrow night.
That's at 9 o'clock on ESPN2 for the right to move on to the NCAA tournament. Ed Corbett came over and spoke to us during the break. Now talking to head coach Sidney Johnson from Fairfield, talking about the clock issues that we have seen repeatedly here in Springfield. Hopefully won't impact the outcome of a game down the stretch. Sidibe sets the screen for Needham. Needham drives on Collinet. The step back. That's a beautiful looking shot.
As we said, when they take you out all your offensive stats, somebody's got to step up and make a play. The one guy that can break you down off the dribble and score is Derek Needham. That's why they absolutely need him tonight.
Andujar spinning. And he lays it in.
Now, second time he's been able to finish at the rim with that spin move.
6 points now for the sophomore from the Bronx. Back to a 4-point ball game.
Manhattan extending the pressure, forcing Fairfield to take some time and some energy, just get the basketball up into the front court.
Well, it's only their 6th made field goal of the first half, and typically off a made bucket you want to pressure the other team, and they just haven't had that opportunity to get into it. Johnson, nice looking shot from the foul line.
Yeah, second time he's converted from 15 feet away. And you're right, Manhattan's a team that wants to press, but you can't get up in that press if you can't score the basketball.
Alvarado off the bounce. All of a sudden, these two teams picking up the offense a little bit.
A high ball screen, and he's got a little bit of an opening. Gilbert's got to be stronger with the basketball there. Alvarado comes underneath the screen that didn't get set initially, and then Collinette with the screen, and as we said, just a little bit of an opening. But when you've got a little bit of an opening right now, you might as well take advantage of it, because most of your shots are going to be with a couple of hands in your face. Both these teams challenge every shot. A little half-court trap is broken, so now they fall back into the man-to-man.
The MAAC Golf Championships head to Lake Buena Vista, Florida to compete on the Magnolia Golf Course from April 26th through the 28th. Check out highlights of the golf action on ESPN3 following each day's competition. We're here at the Men's and Women's Basketball Championships in Springfield, Massachusetts for the second straight year. The league has signed a 3-year contract to have this neutral site event. First time in the league's 3 decades that they have played at a neutral site. Sidibe off the feed from Wade, missed a little bunny.
Got to put it on the backboard, give it a chance.
Koida didn't have any numbers, so he turns tail and brings it back out to Emi Andujar. Here's Andujar, again strong to the basket. Johnson the foul.
Well, Andujar has been their best offensive player right from the start. He's been aggressive all game long, now 4 of 9 from the field, able to fight through the contact. One of the things that Steve Masiello was talking about when Ed Cohen talked to him, can't worry about the contact, we got to finish through the contact. Andujar did just that.
McCoy will check in, presumably here for Andujar. Fairfield led by as many as 11. It stands at 2 right now with just about a minute to go in the first half. Fairfield turns it over. 4 on 3 for the Jaspers. Cates open from deep. And Manhattan has come all the way back to take the lead.
A mental mistake and an unforced error turns into a quick 3. So as well as Fairfield played in this first half, all of a sudden they're down.
Long rebound comes to Needham.
Shot clock off, so they'll pull it out. You'd expect them to hold for the last shot.
Seven seconds. Wade drives and dishes with 3 seconds. Nickerson back to Wade. The pump fake, the shot. And a good defensive stand here by the Jaspers.
Well, after Manhattan struggled mightily, going 3 of 19 to start that first half, they finished hitting 6 out of the last 8 to get themselves back in the ball game. They lead by 1. Back for more at the half.
I didn't. After trailing by as many as 11 points in the first half, Manhattan in the halftime locker room with a 1-point lead, led by their junior point guard, Michael Alvarado, who's with Ed Cohen.
Mike, down 11, you guys charge back, you take the lead before halftime. What was the difference during that run?
We had to be patient and take care of the ball. We know it's going to be a low-scoring game. We're both defensive teams, so we just had to be patient and stick to what we do best.
In terms of the mindset for the Jaspers after Ramel Brown didn't play the final 10 minutes in the first half and foul trouble, what did you guys have to do differently?
We had to go in transition, push the ball up more. Don't let them set up. As well as transition, still defend.
What are the keys in the second half?
Keep defending. That's all. Press them and keep defending.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
What a surprise. The answer would be keep defending. Both sides defending the heck out of the basketball game, and that's why we've got ourselves a competitive 1-point ball game at the break. Back with more of our halftime report after this.
What these young bloods have to understand, that this game has always been and will always be about bucket.
Drew, is that you?
I got you, Wes. Just like old times. We'll get over. That's a pocket pass. That's a pocket pass.
Gotta get out there.
Screen.
Put your team back together again.
Get that out of here.
Go find them. This is just the beginning.
I am Sienna.
I am Sienna.
I am Sienna.
Sienna College offers an exceptional private education with a unique foundation of liberal arts, career preparation, and Franciscan values.
Trophy isn't the only thing that makes us champions. Loyola University, Maryland.
The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference and the Jimmy Fund are partnering up to support the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute at the 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships. The Jimmy Fund raises funds for adult and pediatric cancer and research to improve the chances of survival for cancer patients around the world. To contribute $5 to the Jimmy Fund, text Jimmy to 22122.
Welcome back to the 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts. We are at halftime. Earlier this week, the 2013 MAAC award winners were announced. Let's take a look.
The MAAC Men's Defensive Player of the Year. From Manhattan, Ramel Brown, a junior forward center from Brooklyn, New York. Brown leads the league in blocked shots, averaging 3 stops a night for the Jaspers. He's also tied for 10th place on the NCAA blocked shots chart. He's also registered 32 steals during his junior campaign, while averaging 11.7 points and 7.1 rebounds per game for the Jaspers. The MAAC Men's Defensive Player of the Year, Ramel Brown, Manhattan. The MAAC Men's 6th Player of the Year. From Fairfield, Maurice Barrow, a junior forward from Hollis, New York. Coming off the bench for the Stags, Barrow averaged 8.8 points and 4 rebounds per game. He's connected on more than 45% of his shots from the field, good for 11th place in the MAAC statistics. Barrow scored double-digit points in 14 games, along with 2 double-doubles this season. The MAAC Men's 6th Player of the Year, Maurice Barrow, Fairfield. The MAAC Men's Co-Rookies of the Year. From Fairfield, Amadou Sidibe, and from Manhattan, Shane Richards. Sidibe, a forward from the Bronx, New York, contributed 6.2 points and 6 rebounds per game for the Stags. The MAAC Rookie of the Week for January 28th. He posted 8 double-digit performances and netted 55.6% of his shots from the floor. Richards, a forward from New York City, averaged 7.3 points per game for the Jaspers. He connected on 40.6% of his attempts from the field, 39.6% from behind the arc, and 78.6% from the charity stripe. Richards recorded 11 double-digit scoring performances during his freshman campaign and was named MAAC Rookie of the Week on January 14th. The MAAC Men's Co-Rookies of the Year, Amadou Sidibe, Fairfield, and Shane Richards, Manhattan.
And so there are the best of the best for 2012-2013, led by Lamont Momo Jones, the Player of the Year in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. In his second year as a Gale, he has been outstanding, and there's nothing more that he would want to come out of this weekend on Monday night, about 11 o'clock, being up on a ladder, cutting down the nets here at the Mass Mutual Center. We'll take a break, come back with more of our halftime show with highlights and stats. Back to Springfield in just a moment.
Promising not just a degree, but an inspired direction for life's journey. An intimate college with a global alumni network. A residential campus experience, a subway ride from the capital of culture and opportunity, where you can pursue your dreams and change the world. Manhattan College has been delivering on this dream for over 150 years. Go to manhattan.edu and discover what a LaSallian Catholic college education can promise your future. Manhattan College, dreams delivered.
What these young bloods have to understand, that this game has always been and will always be about buckets.
Drew, is that you?
I got you, Wes. Just like old times. Oh, get over. That's a pocket pass. That's a pocket pass.
Gotta get out there.
Screen.
Put your team back together again.
Get that out of here.
Go find them. This is just the beginning.
23-22, Manhattan with a 1-point lead over Fairfield at the intermission. The winner goes on to take on Iona tomorrow night for the MAAC Championship. And welcome back, everybody, to Springfield, Mass. With Rob Kennedy, I am Doug Sherman. Glad you could stay with us as the Jaspers run past us to get back onto the floor. Well, it's not the 1985 Denver Nuggets what we're watching here. But at least it has
no chance of that today.
No, but it has a little bit more flow than we thought it could have been in terms of their last meeting during the regular season. A few more easy baskets so far here.
Well, especially early on when Fairfield was able to get out to that 11-point lead, it was because they were able to find some of those easy shots out in transition. Nice feed ahead by Derek Needham on this finish at the rim by Maurice Farrell. And then they were able to use their defense. As we said, really hard to score for both of these teams because of their half-court defense. So you got to be able to score out in transition. Manhattan, after struggling so mightily early on, 3 of 19 from the field, they were able to knock down 6 of their last 8 because they put the ball to the floor and found shots. If teams are going to come up and pressure you, you got to put the ball to the floor and go beat people off the dribble. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to find any of those clean looks. And Duhar with a couple of buckets, as well as Alvarado.
First half stats brought to you by New York Life. Only one made three-pointer between the two clubs. Only 4 turnovers committed by the Jaspers, who end that half on the 7-0 run to take the lead. They trailed by as many as 11, but we've got ourselves a ball game, Rob.
Because they took care of the basketball, much like they did last night. They come into this tournament dead last in the MAAC, turning it over at nearly 17 times per game, but they've been strong with the ball against a really good defensive team.
20 minutes still in this ball game. The winner of this will go on to the MAAC Championship game tomorrow night versus Iona. Welcome back to the Men's Basketball Championship presented by Pepsi Max. We are at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts. Our score at the break, 23-22. The Jaspers leading the Stags. Let's send it over to Ed Cohen, who moments ago chatted with Coleman Johnson, who has already matched his career high with 8 points.
Maurice Barrow goes down with foul trouble, about 5 minutes to go. You come off the bench, you tied a season high with 8 points in this first half. Do you embrace roles like that?
Yeah, my coaches tells me to come in, bring energy, so that's what I try to do. And Mo's a great player. I had a big role to fill, and I just try to do my best to go out there and help my team out.
What does it take to maintain 40 minutes of focus in a matchup where points are at such a premium?
We just knew it was going to come in, be a low-scoring game, and we just got to understand that might not score in the 60s and 70s, but we just want to get the win at the end. So we just want to focus on defense and what we can do to get stops and get points on the other end.
Thanks so much. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
And let's take a look at our Holiday Inn one-on-one update. Rob Kennedy.
Well, certainly Derek Needham has not had a good go of it early on because he hasn't been able to find good open looks. Just 2 of 4 from the floor. On the other side, Ramel Brown, he picked up his second foul on a reach-in 90 feet from the basket, not where you want him to pick it up. They were down 7 at that point. The lead stretched to 11, but then his teammates, especially Emian Duhar and Michael Alvarado, were able to pick up and help out Ramel Brown, give him an opportunity to step back on the floor now with a 1-point lead.
And let's revisit our keys to the game, brought to you by Geico.
Well, they haven't gotten the performance out of Derek Needham that they need. He's got to step up and be more offensive-minded in this second half. They found some of those transition baskets early, but then none late. One of the reasons why Manhattan got back into it. Offense execution wasn't there early, but late by putting the ball to the deck and being able to go by guys with the dribble helped him out. And Brown didn't get to do a whole lot because he was sitting next to Steve Masiello for half of that first half.
There you see the tickets punched for the 2013 NCAA tournament. So far, we've got a couple of new teams, Liberty and Creighton, who have joined the fray today.
Yeah, Liberty getting into the NCAA tournament despite the fact that they've got a sub-500 record, and then Creighton winning a terrific game against Wichita State in the Missouri Valley final, 68-65. And so the Blue Jays had a little bump in the road about mid-season, but then Doug McDermott kind of forcing his will as Creighton will go into the NCAA tournament as a pretty good seed, and Wichita State should be in the tournament as well as an at-large.
No question about it. And who will it be from the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference joining that list tomorrow night? Steve Masiello's Manhattan Jaspers, one of 3 teams remaining. Masiello's club, as we start the second half with a slim 1-point lead over Fairfield. And the other team still in the mix, the Iona Gales, who won their semifinal earlier this afternoon here in Springfield, and await the winner of this one tomorrow night. Sidney Johnson has Derek Needham, Desmond Wade, Colin Nickerson, Maurice Barrow, and Amadou Sidibe on the floor. These 2 teams tied during the regular season at 9-9. And by virtue of a tiebreaker, the Jaspers are the higher seed. Needham splits the defense. Sidibe, though, gets tied up. And that Jaspers defense just keeps coming.
And collapsing all the time on Sidibe, who has had a couple opportunities. He's only scored on the one. Not able to come on up with the basketball. Biggest problem, though, for the Stags, their 3 senior guards, Needham, Nickerson, as well as Des Wade, combining for 6 points so far. Sidney Johnson's talked about it all season long. We're as good as our senior guards.
Barrow commits his 3rd foul. Alvarado, Collinet, Cates, Coita, and Ramel Brown, the starting unit for the Jaspers, and another clock issue.
And unlike in the first game where a couple of the coaches were upset that they, the stoppage in time stopped their offensive flow, since there is no offensive flow in this ball game, not as big of a factor.
And it gives you and I a chance to take a little break. Earl Walton there with Ed Corbett, trying to determine how much time should be on the 2 clocks. 26 seconds on the shot clock, 19:29 on the game clock. And the two teams are brought back from their respective benches to resume play.
Brown trying to post up. Good solid defense by Sidibe to keep it out of his hands in the low block.
5 to shoot. Alvarado. Had no legs, but it was because the shot clock was down and he just had to fire it up. Barrow, blocked. Ramel Brown, who says he's a more cerebral shot blocker now as a junior than he was as a freshman. He's going to have to continue that sort of play to make sure he doesn't pick up his 3rd foul.
And that's one of the reasons why that zone is so effective. And they'll mix it up, start the possession zone, then match man late in the possession. But when you get the ball to the high post, you think you're going to get a good shot. And here comes the long arm of the law, and Ramel Brown to swat it away.
Desmond Wade showing that you don't have to be the tallest guy on the floor to pick up a blocked shot. The Jaspers keep possession with 12 to shoot. As a perimeter defender, Rob, how does it change your defensive mentality when you know you've got a guy like Ramel Brown behind you?
Well, you can get up and get under people because you're not afraid of getting beat off the bounce to the basket because you know you got him back there to clean things up.
And he cleaned up right there on an offensive possession that again went right down to the shot clock, and they got a bad shot, but the offensive rebound, and Manhattan continues to work away to try and come up with 2 more points.
You can be so much more aggressive with that defensive pressure because you know you've got a guy at the backside to be able to have your back.
Koida off the turnover commits the foul. Would you actively funnel the player you're guarding towards Brown?
I don't think you have to do that, but you can certainly get up and get under guys. And a lot of times you don't have that defensive support at the backside. You've got to give space. You don't have to worry about giving space with Brown at the backside. And that, as much as all the block shots, the biggest reason why, he was a no-brainer, probably was a unanimous pick as Defensive Player of the Year. 2nd straight season he was so honest.
Barrow up and off the glass for 2. Barrow had 6 points early in this ball game. He's now got 8, and Fairfield is back on top. Des Wade is hugging Alvarado. Both officials on the perimeter called it simultaneously. That was easy.
That one was not hard.
But if you're Des Wade, why are you doing that? You know you can't do that.
Right, you're just in the emotion right there. You scored, you got the lead, you're trying to, but you still have to be smart.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not a good foul.
I mean, maybe you try to get away with it if you're a big in the paint and you're wrestling, but on the perimeter, 30 feet away, you can't do that.
Especially right in front of the official.
Here's Des Wade with the basketball. Manhattan back on top, 25-24.
You've heard me say a lot over the years we've been doing this. Fouling is not good defense. I mean, you got to foul without. I mean, you got to guard without fouling.
Like right there, Ramel Brown had his 2 hands wrapped around Sidibe, but they are post players, and you can get away with it.
Yep.
Alvarado commits the foul, and so he heads out after picking up number 1. Koida and Brown also go out. Get some youth on the floor. C.J. Jones, freshman from Chicago, as well as Rashawn Stores, Roberto Collinet, Emi Andujar, and Donovan Cates.
And Cates gets whistled for the foul. Talked about how you can sometimes get away with that hug in the post, but on the inbound pass there, he wasn't able to go get it, so that's a good call.
First foul on Cates.
It's like soccer, advantage, disadvantage. He couldn't go catch that basketball. Can't allow him to play on. Good call.
Barrow. Tough shot. Fairfield will keep it. And since they didn't hit the rim on that shot, the shot clock remains at 12. Barrow gives it back to Nickerson. And now Needham recognizes that the shot clock is under 10 and is going to go on Collinette. Little runner. Andujar clears the glass.
It has taken a while for Fairfield to get in their offensive sets throughout this ball game. We've seen them have to put up tough shots late in the shot clock time and time again.
Andujar. That's a 2. Sophomore out of Rice High School's into double figures now, and the lead is up to 3.
And he's the only player on either team in double figures.
Barrow puts it on the deck. And Cates commits the foul. Emmy Andujar has come off the bench in both halves and provided offense for the Jaspers. They had to break with a 27-24 lead.
The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference has provided thrills and excitement to college basketball fans for over 30 years. Now you can get an inside look at the league schools and its student athletes by visiting the MAAC Experience at the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. Check out the MAAC's rich history and be sure to take in the featured video, A Day in the Life of a MAAC Student Athlete. Don't miss the MAAC Experience at the Basketball Hall of Fame. For more information, visit hoophall.com.
I guess this is it.
You promised to call?
I promise.
Hey, Dad. Everything's great. I really like my classes.
There's so many clubs and activities to choose from. I think I'd like to study abroad. I was accepted for an internship in New York City.
Done.
Did you just turn your ringer off so no one would interrupt us?
Oh, no. I just used my Geico app to get a tow truck. It's going to be here in 30 minutes.
Oh. So that means we won't be stuck up here for hours with nothing to do.
I get it. You want to pass the time, huh?
Fruit Ninja! Emergency roadside assistance. Just a click away with the Geico mobile app.
Welcome back to Springfield, Massachusetts, where twice tomorrow we will have the nets cut down at noon Eastern, the women's championship game between D'Amica Martinez and the Iona Gales and Leanne Ockenden and the Marist Red Foxes. Marist, the defending champ, many times over. Ockenden's the defensive player of the year. Martinez, the overall player of the year, so it should be an interesting matchup. And by the way, Rob, this is the first time in conference history that Iona College has both its women's team and its men's team in the title game the same year, so it could be a very big Monday for the folks from New Rochelle.
Well, Gale fans will have a busy day.
The Iona men won our first semifinal here today, eliminating Niagara, and so the Gales can just rest comfortably through the afternoon and early evening here, getting ready for tomorrow night's big game. Meanwhile, Manhattan and Fairfield are scrapping right down to the wire, presumably, to oppose the Gales tomorrow. Des Wade has it knocked away. The steal by C.J. Jones.
And second time we've seen Des get stripped with the basketball, and he is usually rock solid with the ball.
Here goes Andujar again, and he is tied up. That time Wade able to come down effectively and force the turnover.
So he giveth and take it away. He got stripped at one end, but he forces the turnover at the other.
Marcus Gilbert replaces Desmond Wade. Gilbert's pass back to Barrow winds up out of bounds. Steve Masiello very happy about that pressure.
Yeah, trying to get his bench fired up, much like we saw Sidney Johnson early on. Against this pressure defense, you got to be strong with the basketball. A couple of times the Stags have not been, and that's a good call right there by Eddie Corbett. Because Storrs absolutely mugged Needham to start off with. Needham got a little frustrated and pushed off, but the initial foul was clearly on Storrs.
Was Storrs trying to bait Needham into committing a foul?
Yep, and same thing on the baseline out of bounds against the full court pressure. He was hanging all over. Ed Corbett, one of the best referees in college basketball. And as you said, a veteran, terrific crew here for this semi. We didn't see a ton of full court pressure from Manhattan in that first half, but they've started to extend it a bit. And by the time Fairfield settles in, shot clock's already down to 20.
And again, isn't a big part of that because they weren't scoring many baskets, they couldn't as easily get into a full court press.
That and the fact that Brown was sitting even when they started scoring late in that first half, because Ramel Brown was sitting with the foul trouble. You don't have that guy that can protect the rim at the back end of the full court pressure.
Shane Richards back on the floor for Manhattan, as is Mohamed Koita. Barrow gets the bounce for two.
And the Stags don't have that guy that can stretch the zone defense as a terrific three-point shooter. Needham can knock down threes, but they miss that one guy. If they had a guy like Shane Richards that could step in and stretch the D, now all of a sudden you got better offensive balance.
Foul off the ball. It's Gilbert who is the guilty party.
And a guy throughout much of the season that has been able to stretch the D has been Marcus Gilbert. Good size at 6'6". He's back in the ball game.
Andujar dumped it off inside Collinet, and the foul. Derek Needham's Fairfield Stags jumped out to an 11-point lead in this game. They were up 16-5 with 8:15 remaining in the first half, but Manhattan closed the first half on a run despite the fact that their star player Ramel Brown was sitting with two personals. And now Roberto Collinet shooting two. He gets the first. And there's Ramel Brown again back on the bench. Long rebound back to Collinet. So there's an offensive rebound. Haven't had many of them. There's 5 offensive rebounds for Manhattan in the ball game. Richards being hounded. Pick and roll, Collinet. And a whistle and a foul.
That was a solid pick and roll. It's got to start with that solid screen if you're going to be able to roll. Defensively, you got to talk. You run into that one, you turn to your teammates and say, somebody help me out.
Yeah.
Here's that solid screen by Collinet, and by doing that, you're able to open to the basketball. That is textbook pick and roll.
Spacing was okay.
Yeah, terrific spacing. But it all starts with the solid screen. If it's a brush screen, you're not going to be able to have that roll. You force guys to have to switch when you set the solid screen.
And it's just as much on the ball handler as it is the man setting the screen.
Absolutely, because you've got to make sure that you get yourself shoulder to shoulder or shoulder to hip on that screen. If you veer with the basketball, you allow space for the defender to slide through.
And you can't go prematurely.
Nope. Because if you jump it, now all of a sudden you reject the screen and you've got a driving lane on the other side.
Barrow gives it up to Sidibe rather. And again, what looked like an opportunity for an easy basket after breaking the pressure results in Fairfield pulling it back out.
He's a terrific rebounder and defender, but he's got to improve his offensive skill set for him to be able to make that next jump. He may have been the rookie of the year, but if he doesn't work on his ability to finish plays like that, he's not going to be able to be one of the elite players in this league.
Barrow. That's another two-point jumper, just like in the first half, just on the line. And Barrow is showing his entire repertoire here tonight.
There's the immediate double, forcing it out of Brown's hands. But there's the answer, the ability of Emi Andujar to put the ball on the floor and attack the rim.
And he is a right-hander who loves to finish left-handed.
So much standing around offensively for Fairfield, and because of that, you get a forced shot. You got to get some ball movement and player movement. The Stags are way too stagnant.
Mel Brown with the basketball. Out there with Andujar, Koida, Alvarado, and Richards. Trying to run off some screens to find an opening. Can't do it. Koida for three. That's a 6-point lead now for Manhattan. The largest of the ball game. And Sidney Johnson can't wait for the media timeout. He wants to talk it over right now. Emi Andujar twice this year has been an Iona killer, knocking off the Gales in the regular season. Will he get another chance tomorrow night in the championship? Well, the Jaspers certainly hope so.
Thrilling.
Back in Springfield, Mass, with Manhattan opening up its largest lead of the ball game so far. Steve Masiello's club on top by 6.
And a 6-point lead in a game like this could be more like a 15-point lead. When points are hard to come by, any separation you can get is so important. Another different look from Manhattan as they extend the zone. Look how they talk, communicate, and bump off cutters.
And now again, the shot clock under 10 as Nickerson penetrates. Foul on the shot goes against Richards, who has a very tough assignment there. And Ramel Brown came over to make sure that the shot wasn't going to go in. We've got our official timeout with Ramel Brown defending for the Jaspers, who lead by 6.
The ones who inspire us. The ones who make us laugh. The ones with the strong shoulder to lean on. The ones we're named after. And the ones named after us. It takes all kinds of good to make a family. At New York Life, everything we do is to help you keep good going.
The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference and the Jimmy Fund are partnering up to support the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute at the 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships. The Jimmy Fund raises funds for adult and pediatric cancer and research to improve the chances of survival for cancer patients around the world. To contribute $5 to the Jimmy Fund, text Jimmy to 22122.
Everyone here at Iona College has a great spirit of enthusiasm as students start to see our facilities and speak to our faculty. They realize this college gives our students a great opportunity to learn more about themselves and go on to fantastic careers in whatever field they choose.
The first thing that strikes you when you arrive at campus is the beautiful buildings and grounds. But above all, Iona focuses on students and student success. And Iona is an institution that changes lives.
Back in Springfield, Mass, We have a chance to hear from Sidney Johnson with Ed Cohen.
Coach, what was your message to your team in the timeout about how to attack this Manhattan zone?
Well, right now it's about our defense. Our defense isn't as good as we'd like it to be. If we get stops, we can get out and transition. I think there's a lot of open stuff in the zone. We've got to take advantage of that, but defensively, we've got to be much better.
You said last night, and you were right, that the game would be decided at the foul line. How about tonight?
We'll see. I mean, for me, we gave up an offensive rebound on the foul line. We've got to cut that out. But if we get back to guarding the way we want to, we'll get back in the game.
Thanks, Sidney.
Thank you.
When you hear Sidney Johnson, this team's built on defense, and so when you've got to get yourself back in the ball game, it's got to start with their D. Said one of the keys was to find those easy baskets. They had a couple easy baskets early, but they haven't gotten any lately because they haven't been able to turn the Jaspers over to get out and run.
Well, Maurice Barrow, the 6'5 junior from Christ the King High School in New York, has had a solid game for Sidney Johnson Stags here today.
Well, they've taken away the 3 senior guards, so he's got some open space, especially against the zone in the high post, whether it's on the baseline. So Barrow has stepped up and shouldered the scoring load, but he needs some help from those senior guards. Needham stuck on 4 points, just where he was in that first half. Nickerson scoreless, Wade with 2. And Nickerson with an opportunity to get himself in the scoring column. We said Sidney Johnson has been adamant from the start of this year that this team was only going to be as good as their 3 senior guards, and we're only going to go as far as their senior guards were going to take them. Derek Needham and company took them to this point into the semis. Remember, Needham 24 in the first round win over St. Peter's, 19 last night. He's got to get himself going offensively.
And it's interesting to hear Sidney Johnson say that they aren't doing a good enough job defensively when his team is only allowing just slightly more than a point a minute. But in a game like this, every point counts. Andujar. No. Rebound Needham. Quickly up ahead. Tough catch for Gilbert. And it turns into a turnover. Gilbert may be given the turnover, but it's on Needham for the first pass. Brown hammered and a chance for 3.
Well, that's the play you got to make. You got to give up that foul. Brown struggles from the foul line at just 40% coming into the tournament and struggled yesterday. But he's just so darn strong that he's able to fight through the contact. I mean, smart play by Needham. Even Barrow's coming over to get a piece of him. But look how strong Ramel Brown is. Last night those were dunks. Loyola didn't foul him, didn't put him to the line. They didn't have that depth in the front court without both Latham and Brooks available. But you got to give up all those fouls coming down the stretch to force Brown to the foul line.
And so Needham now plays with 3 fouls just past the midpoint of the second half. We saw the numbers for Ramel Brown. That was his first field goal of the ball game. Nickerson's pass goes out of bounds. MAAC.TV is the official broadband network of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. The portal includes live content from Canisius, Iona, Manhattan, Marist, Ryder, and St. Peter's, plus MAAC championship events like this one. Visit MAAC.TV/register to sign up now. Stores and Jones now in the backcourt for Manhattan, going with the youth, along with Donovan Cates, Emmy Andujar, and Ramel Brown. Coleman Johnson with the steal. Wade has his bounce pass knocked away by Andujar. Fairfield keeps possession, though, with the shot clock still winding. Nickerson gets mugged by Jones.
But they're going to have to be able to break down off the bounce, much like we saw Manhattan make an adjustment in the first half, put it to the floor to get by those defenders. If you're going to get that much ball pressure on you, you've got to be able to have a release.
First foul on number 1, and the 8th team foul against Manhattan. Nickerson's now 2 for 3 from the stripe.
Stags up in a 2-2-1 full court pressure.
And Steve Johnston, a walk-on guard, is checked in for Fairfield. Number 23 in red, now guarding Stores. And with that, Derek Needham heads back to the scorer's table to check back in at the next dead ball. Ramel Brown spins away from Johnson, who recovered to deny the layup, but he is called for the foul. Quick feet for Ramel Brown.
Well, he flashes against the backside of the zone, but smart play and recovery. That time by Coleman Johnson. Brown gets that deep on the post up. You can't allow him the easy shot. You got to make him earn it from the line.
That foul went against Maurice Barrow, the help defender, so that is his fourth. Not on Johnson, but on Barrow. And now Needham comes back in. And our first look at Josip Mikolic of the night, the 7-footer from Croatia, who typically plays more minutes than he has here so far today. Brown got the roll, and it's back to a 7-point lead.
And Mikolic, one of those guys that can stretch the defense. Good outside shooter.
Foul before the shot against Jones. And that's his second. And this time it'll be Desmond Wade at the foul line. That's the 9th team foul. So a 1-on-1 situation still. Jones goes out. Matthews will report into the game. Mikolic with a very short run.
And now full court man. So we saw a little 2-2-1. Now they drop back.
Andujar nearly lost it to Matthews. And then the foul called against the Stags defender. 8th team foul against Fairfield, so a 1-on-1 for Andujar. Seems to be in a little bit of discomfort as he gets ready to shoot. Now Mikolic comes back in for Matthews. Boy, Andujar has been a huge spark offensively off the bench for the Jaspers in the ball game. He leads them with 12 points. And now Ed Corbett's going to tell Desmond Wade to take it easy on that first free throw. He went flying towards Andujar and made contact. How much is okay on a situation like that? Because you're always told to go get the shooter.
Yeah, but you just got to make sure that you're not doing it just to get into somebody's legs and bother them. Both coaches running guys in and out off the bench, trying to keep some fresh legs.
Des Wade to Needham. Long three. And an over-the-back foul against Mikolic. Nice job by Alvarado to box out. And that takes us to our next media timeout. 40-33 Manhattan trying to punch its ticket to the MAAC championship tomorrow. The 2013 MAAC Player of the Year, Lamont Momo Jones, has led the Iona Gales into tomorrow night's 9 o'clock championship by helping them beat Niagara earlier today with his 17 points. Now, he's battling a fever, but he has fought through the illness to make it to the title game, and there are still tickets available. You can watch the game on ESPN2 at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, or you can come here to the Mass Mutual Center box office in Springfield, Mass, and pick up your tickets now, or you can purchase online at Ticketmaster.com. The 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships. Let's go. With Rob Kennedy, I'm Doug Sherman. We've got a 7-point Manhattan lead, and much like you said about 5 minutes ago of game clock time, Rob, a 7-point lead in this type of matchup could be insurmountable.
Oh, Fairfield struggling to score the basketball just like they did in the first 2 times they played Manhattan during the regular season. We said combined in those 2 games, they scored just 71 points. Only 33 so far here. In this next 7:45, they got to get something going offensively. They're 0 from beyond the 3-point line, 0 for 7, and they just haven't gotten anything from their 3 senior guards.
Alvarado's 2 foul shots give Manhattan its largest lead of the night.
And this press has bothered the Stags. Even though they haven't gotten a lot of turnovers with it, it has slowed the game down. By the time they get up into the half-court offense, shot clock's starting to wind down, and they've struggled to find good looks.
Keep in mind, just Friday before last, in a game played at Manhattan College, the Jaspers beat the Stags 34-31. So they've already passed that, but still scoring points for this Fairfield team against the Manhattan defense is a real chore. So down 9 with only 7:25 remaining is a real problem.
Forget about scoring. They can't even get the basketball inbounds. In the 2 games, they shot 27% in that last game, 25% in their first game. Jasper's defense has bothered them all season.
Desmond Wade, wow, little layup.
That was a tough finish, but that's what they need. One of these guards going to have to step up, put the ball to the floor, and get something going. Fairfield just 30% from the floor here in the second half. Manhattan shooting it well. Well, they've been able to stretch this lead out.
Alvarado fouled from behind as he was stepping back to create space. Desmond Wade was on his hip and is the guilty party. That is team foul.
Yeah, and a bad team foul because there was 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Can't bail them out. Guys make shots and they start making plays. That's one thing. Let somebody beat you. Don't help them by making mistakes.
3rd foul on Wade. He and Needham both with 3, and Alvarado back to the line where he just made a pair.
And Doug, you and I have talked about how hard sometimes it is to send seniors home. But late in the game, when they get themselves behind, there are times where seniors start pressing, start trying to do a little bit too much. They don't want their career to end, but you still got to be able to make plays, smart plays, to be able to get your team back in.
Justin Jenkins now with the basketball, a freshman from the Bronx, into the game for the first time. Under 10 on the shot clock, and they are just now getting the ball to the foul line for the first time. No foul called on the drive by Nickerson.
Wow, and he got absolutely clobbered by Brown.
Andujar, coast to coast. Mikulich did not step over.
And you have him on the floor for offense, but he's a defensive liability.
Needham up and over Brown. The follow by Johnson, no. And Ramel Brown pulls down the defensive rebound, and now the Jaspers happy to walk it up.
Yep, 2 defensive plays by Brown. First one was a clear foul. That was a great challenge on that shot coming down. And right now, Fairfield in trouble. They started 3 of 19 from the floor, but since then, 11 for 17. That's on fire in this kind of a game.
Five to shoot. Alvarado into Brown, and they're not going to get the shot off. I don't think Andujar realized it was that low. I think his teammates may have, but Andujar had the ball in his hands when the clock struck 0, and so the Jaspers turn it over. Stores replaces Alvarado.
Now they've got numbers.
The block by Brown. Needham for 3.
Even though they had numbers, Manhattan had the right number. Number 5 in the back. They've been 3-on-1, but if your one's number 5, that's why you can press when you've got him at the back end to clean it up.
And you know why Ramel Brown wears number 5? Favorite player's Jason Kidd. And he got that number from Mohamed Koita. That had been Koita's number up until this year. Number 5, though, can't get the runner to go. Johnson, a new career high. Coleman Johnson with 10 points, and we've got the timeout. Fairfield back within 9.
Well, Emi Andujar has had a big game tonight, leading the way with 16 points, and he had energy right from the start. First couple of shots he took, Doug, he missed his first 4 shots, and you said, you know what? He's being aggressive, though, and if you stay aggressive for long enough, shots are going to start falling. When they needed offense, he was the guy that was able to step up and deliver for the Jaspers.
And how many of his 6 field goals have been layups? Seems like all 6.
Yeah, a lot of them. And how many to the left hand? You made the point. He's the righty, but loves to drive and finish with his left hand. And when you can do that, be able to finish with either hand at the rim. We talk about bigs needing to do that. Guards need to be able to do that on drives as well.
And I should say 7 made field goals now for those 16 points. But again, the majority of them certainly seem like they have been all going to the basket.
He's been aggressive and he has continued to attack. One thing about Stevie Masiello's team, their game plan coming in is how do we take the star away from the opposing team? He never wants stars to be able to play like stars against them. Once again, their defensive game plan has been spectacular. They've taken Derek Needham, the Stag star, completely out of this ball game.
High-low, Andujar Collinet. Foul on Johnson.
Offense execution late in the ball game, really from about the midpoint of that first half, has been excellent for Manhattan.
Foul number 3 on Johnson. So Collinet at the line shooting 2. Collinet has really done a nice job here in the tournament so far, being a helper to Ramel Brown. You know, he's not a guy who's put up big numbers this year, but he has really contributed the last 2 days.
No question. 7 points, 8 rebounds last night, and he played terrific defense inside against Danny Stewart to try to neutralize Stewart. And once again here tonight with another good, solid all-around performance.
Nikolic replacing Johnson once again. Jenkins breaks the pressure. Jenkins off the glass a little too strong, and Brown grabs the miss.
You can see Sidney Johnson searching for answers. He has tried a number of different guys to see if anybody can give him some semblance of offense. Jenkins got into the lane, put it on the board, just what you want, but there's been a lid on that basket. Stags now just 5 of 17 from the floor this half.
Brown up to the rim again.
And it's starting to go Manhattan's way. Starting to pull away, and the Jasper faithful behind the bench starting to feel it.
This is Manhattan's largest lead.
Good closeout, knowing the scouting report to get out to Miklich.
Needham was fouled on the pass. The Manhattan Jaspers are only 2 minutes and 51 seconds away from getting to the MAAC Finals, where their arch rivals from Iona await.
Anaconda Sports, your sports authority, proudly supporting local high school athletes throughout the region. We want to thank all the teams and coaches that have made Anaconda the #1 dealer in the Northeast. Football, baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever your sport, Anaconda has what you're looking for. From the latest gear and team uniforms to logo shirts and hats for your company. Make Anaconda your connection.
Hey, if you want to go for sports equipment, go to Anaconda Sports. It's awesome, baby.
So, if you have a flat tyre, dead battery, need a tow or lock your keys in the car, Geico's emergency roadside assistance is there 24/7. Oh dear, I got a flat tyre. Yeah, can you find a take where it's a bit more dramatic on that last line, yeah? Yeah, I got it right here.
Someone help me! I have a flat tyre!
Oh, it's good for me. What do you think?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
What these young bloods have to understand, that this game has always been and will always be about buckets.
Drew, is that you?
I got you, Wes. Just like old times. Oh, get over. That's a pocket pass. That's a pocket pass.
Gotta get out there.
Screen.
Put your team back together again.
Get that out of here.
Go find them. This is just the beginning.
The 2013 MAAC basketball tournament is brought to you by Pepsi Max. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Anaconda Sports, home of the Rock, is proud to sponsor the MAAC. The Jimmy Fund. Text Jimmy to 22122 to contribute $5 to the Jimmy Fund today. Geico. See how Geico can save you 15% or more on your car insurance by visiting geico.com today. And by the 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts. Visit Massachusetts.com for more information. Let's go. Rob Kennedy, you have said repeatedly that Sidney Johnson says we are going to go as far as our 3 senior guards will take us. Well, at the rate they are going right now, where that's going to take him is on a bus ride home tonight back to Fairfield.
Now combined just 3 of 17 from the floor. And that is not a recipe for success.
Jim Haney explaining the ways of the world to Derek Needham, while the other 2 officials head back over to the monitor.
Well, I think the foul was on the reach in on the catch by Maurice Barrow, so I think he's going to be the guy at the line. Even though it was on the floor, we're in the double bonus, it's going to be 2 shots. Needham thought the foul was on the pass on a bump against him, but I think they got it on a catch by Barrow.
Well, if you're Iona watching this game, do you have a feeling for, well, we're about to potentially face our arch rival? What are they thinking right now, you think, Rob?
Well, most important, they're thinking about how do we get tempo. If they allow Manhattan to get this game at the pace that they want, defensively, make it a grind-out game, physical, that benefits Manhattan. If Iona can get in space, if they can get some transition, they get some pace to the ball game, then it's clearly to their advantage.
And so it is Barrow at the free throw line, not Needham. Barrow is 71% shooter. Needham is 77% foul shooter.
Now Fairfield's got to get up in the full court pressure, and they've got to figure out a way to come up with the steal. Manhattan has turned it over just 8 times in this ball game. That's been one of the keys for stretching this lead out. They've been good with the basketball.
And a terrific job by Rashawn Storrs along the sideline where it looked like he was about to be double teamed. He was able to get out of it. Nickerson went for the steal, and then the foul given up by Wade. Fourth foul on Wade as we take a look at our Pepsi Max slam of the game.
And Ramel Brown, he had a lot of those against Loyola. Not as many tonight, but he got that one. They haven't needed as big an offensive performance from Ramel Brown, but once again, his ability to anchor the back end of the defense has allowed Manhattan to get up in the full court pressure throughout this second half. Didn't see much of it in the first half, but it's been really effective in the second half for the Jaspers.
Storrs with a couple of foul shots. How about the job by Ramel Brown's teammates? You know, he went out with the 2 fouls at the midpoint of the first half. Fairfield led by as many as 11 points during that first half, and in spite of the fact that Brown wasn't out there, the Jaspers cut it to a 1-point game at halftime and then have continued that here in the second half.
And how many times do you see that when you outplay an opponent throughout most of the first half, but then all of a sudden you let a team make a run at the end of the first half, and now all of a sudden Sidney Johnson's team had an opportunity to maybe stretch that lead out, go into the locker room with a double-digit lead. Instead, they went into the locker room down 1. And when that happens, that gives the other team life, momentum, and their pressure defense here in the second half has kept that momentum going.
The fourth foul on Michael Alvarado has Barrow back at the line. There was a whistle. Play continued. Weren't sure if it was a squeaking sneaker or a whistle, but Manhattan called from the bench a timeout. Ed Corbett was right there and heard it and blew his whistle. And so with 2:13 remaining, what can Fairfield do to make this up, if anything, Rob?
Well, the only thing they can do is figure out how to turn over the Jaspers, get something going with their pressure defense. That's their only chance. If they don't force turnovers, come up with some steals, get out in transition, get a layup, hit a 3, then this ball game's over.
Yeah, the Jaspers can chew this up in 4 possessions.
Absolutely. And they've shown the ability to take care of the basketball so far tonight. Well below their 17 per game average. They've turned it over only 8 times. Good job taking care of the basketball against a team that gets up in you and at times can really bother you with their on-the-ball defense.
Nickerson knocked it out of bounds. Tries to bait the official into a foul call. Nothing doing. Earl Walton was right on top of it.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. But one of the nice luxuries that Steve Masiello has is when you can put the basketball in Andujar's hands. He's got good size, but he handles it as well. It's a nice outlet to help break the defensive pressure.
Fourth foul on Derek Needham.
The only other thing that the Stags can do is send Manhattan to the foul line and hope the Jaspers start missing.
Needham, Barrow, and Wade each have 4 personal fouls, so if they continue with that plan of attack, they will start losing their key players quickly. And perhaps with that in mind, they bring Steve Johnston back into the game. Fairfield will have Coleman Johnson take a break.
Now the Jaspers 20 of 25 from the foul line, so they've taken care of the basketball, made foul shots, and a close defensive struggle. Those are 2 of the most important things to do.
Colin Nickerson, the finger roll. Nice pass by Andujar.
Yep, he's the outlet and the safety valve against that full court pressure.
And so back to the line go the Jaspers. Donovan Cates was trying to go to the line as the better foul shooter, but he was caught in the act, and so Storrs goes back. Nickerson. And Ramel Brown pulls it down. Johnston again called for the foul, so we walk back to the other end for more free throws as the 14-point lead grows. MAAC fans, next year's MAAC basketball championships return to the Mass Mutual Center here in Springfield from March 6th through the 10th. Log on to Massachusetts.com for more information.
And you look inside of this season, you were talking about what a good job Stevie Masiello did to change how they played and keep this team together. They lost 9 out of 11 ball games from the middle of December when George Beeman went out until the end of January. They got together and said, you know what, we can't run all over the place. We can't trap and press as much as we want to have to do. We're going to have to slow the ball game down, change how we're playing offensively. And since that point, since a win at Ryder back on January 27th, they've gone on one heck of a roll. Looks like they're going to come up with the win here today, which will make it 8 out of their last 10. So they will head into the championship as one of the hottest teams in the MAAC.
And Rob, the Jaspers fans come to their feet as the Stags have called things off. And so we're going to have, for the first time since 1994, arch rivals Manhattan and Iona meeting in the MAAC tournament. And this will be remarkably the first time ever that these 2 charter members of the league will meet in the championship game. And there you see the results of their 2 head-to-head meetings during the regular season.
Yeah, split the regular season matchup, including that terrific double overtime win. And again, lost earlier in the season where they were not playing as well, but able to win. Well, that was part of the 8 out of the last 10. Manhattan able to grind it out. That was a low-scoring game in regulation. Remember, you see 73-74, but that's with an extra 10 minutes of play. They've got to, again, go back to the same thing. They've got to get this game at a walking pace. They don't want it to be going up and down the floor.
And there's the reality for Fairfield. Sidney Johnson beginning to take his seniors out one at a time to allow the fans from Fairfield to appreciate first Colin Nickerson. And Derek Needham will be the last senior taken out of the game sometime in the next 51 seconds.
And that will be an emotional embrace. Sidney Johnson has talked about how he came in. Obviously, Ed Cooley had done a great job getting the program where it was, recruited all these guys. And the fact that he was welcomed with open arms from day one by Derek Needham made the transition that much easier.
Now, a couple of classy guys, so no surprise that they would have such a good working relationship.
And they're going to give up the foul so that he can get that substitution out. And we've seen the emotion from Sidney Johnson. You go back when they were able to win that play-in game against Harvard a couple of years ago to get to the NCAA tournament. You saw in the press conference when they lost that heartbreaker in the first round of the NCAA tournament when he was the head coach at Princeton against Kentucky. nearly shocking the Wildcats, and you're going to see some emotion right here. I can guarantee you that.
Mike Highland, a walk-on guard, will come into the game for Fairfield and take the place of number 3 in red. An all-conference guard 4 years running, had one of the fabulous rookie years in the history of the league. He is still hugging his head coach, Sidney Johnson. Derek Needham's college career is coming to a close. And Rashawn Storrs can dribble it out. The Manhattan Jaspers are going to take a 14-17 record into tomorrow night's MAAC championship game.
Well, the Jaspers defense once again up to the task, holding Fairfield to just 42 points. You saw the emotional embrace with his head coach, with Derek Needham. Stevie Masiello with a nice gesture there as well to stop and congratulate one of the all-time greats in Fairfield history.
Well, when Derek Needham was a high school senior on the south side of Chicago, he lost his father to complications of diabetes. He came to Fairfield, found one father figure in Ed Cooley, found another in Sidney Johnson, and now Needham moves on to the next chapter in his life. And there's your matchup for the first time ever. It'll be arch rivals Iona and Manhattan. Their campuses divided by only about 10 miles, and they will battle for the right to go on to the NCAA tournament tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on ESPN2. We'll take another break and come back to our post-game report here in Springfield.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop. You save.
Welcome back to the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield with Rob Kennedy. I'm Doug Sherman. Manhattan has eliminated Fairfield 60-42 in our second men's semifinal. And so our championship matchups are set for tomorrow beginning at noon on ESPNU. The top-seeded Marist Red Foxes will take on the Iona College Gales. And then tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, Ramel Brown and the Jaspers take on Lamont Momo Jones and the Gales. 9 o'clock on ESPN2, the first time in these two programs' histories that they will meet for the MAAC title game. Let's send it over to Ed Cohen with the winning coach.
All right, Doug, Manhattan this season without its leading scorer for all but 4 games. They will play for a MAAC championship tomorrow night. Steve Masiello, how would you sum up why this team was able to get to this point?
Unbelievable mental toughness. This team, even when we struggled, we have great leadership with the players. They conducted themselves like professionals. They believe that they are a first-place team, and they act that way. They play that way. They practice that way. They conduct themselves that way, and it's showing up now. We have unbelievable leadership. We have great people in this program with the players. They're not only great students, they're great athletes, and I couldn't be more proud of a group because of the things they've been through, and they've never shown it. They just keep fighting.
We're going to hear from Emi Andujar in a sec, but he was aggressive from the start. What did you see from your sophomore?
You know, he's so he makes everything look so easy, and I'm still on him in timeouts, and because the game comes so easily to him. When he's going off the bounce, he's very tough to stop, and obviously he's figuring out how to go at people and attack. He's just doing everything. He's rebounding, he's passing. Without him, we couldn't be here.
And you guys shot 80% from the foul line.
That's a good thing. We're improving in that area.
You grew up in Westchester County. You've coached in the Iona-Manhattan rivalry. If you could put in perspective the fact that they'll be facing off against you for the first time in MAAC tournament championship history.
That's unbelievable. Rich just told me that. Two very rich basketball traditions, teams that have had great runs. For us, this will be the first time ever is unbelievable. I think it's a great game, great rivalry. It's great for college basketball.
Congratulations. Good luck tomorrow. Steve Masiello, head coach of the Jaspers, and of course a great effort from Emmy Andujar. If you could discuss your approach in attacking the basket tonight and why you were successful.
My coach always told me, just go off the bounce. It's hard for people to guard me because I play the forward position in this conference, and he always told me to go off the bounce. And in high school I was a guard, so it's tough.
You're the native of New York, so you know what Manhattan and Iona is all about. What does it mean to have a crack again at the Gales for a MAAC title?
It's always a tough game between us two. It was tough at their home, tough at our home. Nobody never gives up, and it's always going to be a tough game tomorrow.
Emmy Andujar, congratulations.
Thank you.
And he is our Pepsi Max player of the game. The Jaspers headed to the MAAC tournament final tomorrow against Iona.
Indeed, thank you very much, Ed, and congratulations to Emmy Andujar and the Jaspers. Once again, our final score, Manhattan 60, Fairfield 42. The women's MAAC championship game is at 12 noon Eastern tomorrow on ESPNU between Iona and Marist. The men's championship at 9 o'clock on ESPN2 between the Jaspers and Gales. For Rob Kennedy, Ed Cohen, and our entire crew, I'm Doug Sherman saying so long. The proceeding has been a presentation of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.